If you get hit by a bus, your business falls apart, that means you don't own a business, you own a job. Especially entrepreneurs in the e-commerce space, they stay in the weeds too long. They try to do it all themselves because they're trying to pinch those pennies and squeeze that margin and dig in. Because if you're not currently implementing VAs or apprentices or delegation or automation and AI in your business, you're already falling behind. Talking about a COO, I'll pause there. I can tell you why a COO didn't work for me as well.
Yeah, no, I get exactly what you're saying. I actually started, and I had the same problem. So I started a VA agency to help hire people, to put those type of people in, because anyone who was a systems follower just fails underneath me within a month.
Yep.
Because I start ignoring them. And then,
yep.
because
so the hard part about it is systems followers are actually wildly valuable. Like those guys.
Many of them in Seller Candy.
Well, you have to have them in a seat where creativity is not the goal, right? Like business, it's a black box. You do the same things over and over again, and it prints money. Well, find me a systems creator that likes to do the same thing over and over again. No, like I'd rather shoot myself, I'd rather poke myself in the eye with a needle than come into work and do the exact same thing every day. But there are people out there who gain satisfaction from that. And so they're an integral part of what's there. But I agree. VAs under me who start as systems followers don't last very long either.
Yeah.
Unless I have the systems defined.
Yeah, I've had some amazing VAs. I also don't want to deal with them in general, which is fine. It's not usually the follower people are not as fun to interact with on a daily basis.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I found that if they have a good system if the system dictates how they interact with you, they don't drive me nearly as crazy.
I won't drive you crazy. No, they're just not fun, not creative. From my model of the world, obviously, we surround ourselves with people like us. We like people like us. So that's my experience with that.
Interesting. I've learned to enjoy their simplistic view of the world, the non-creative view, because a lot of times their perspective, I'm like, but we could try this, this, and this. And they're like, is that really what we should be doing? Should we really be going down that rabbit hole? Oh. So I hear you. I enjoy a creative, if I'm going out and hanging out with friends, I'm definitely going to have more fun with creative types than I am the accountants.
What is an apprentice then? Is it actually an apprentice? So is it someone who wants to become an entrepreneur and you're paying there, or is it just that you found this systems creative person?
Great question. So the difference between a systems creator and an apprentice is a systems creator is a way to describe the way they interact with the world of systems, right? It's an off-on switch from that perspective. The other thing that an apprentice must have is the desire to lean into your business and do things the way you would do them. So, for example, I have a client who he runs a 3PL. He has a ginormous multi-million-dollar deal. He's got a lot of inventory that he bought at pennies on the dollar, and he's getting offers for millions of dollars for this inventory. And the buyer said, "Hey, I need this to be insured. I need the assets in that warehouse to be insured." And he was like, "Well, I have," and he explained which insurance he had. I said, No. I need somebody to insure that. If an act of God happens, I need to be able to recoup some of this investment. So you've got to go find insurance. So it's a $30,000 or $40,000 insurance policy that he's now hunting for. And he's got several $1 million riding on the deal. The task of reaching out to insurance companies and explaining all of the things that are needed and doing all of that stuff, like researching out vendors, that is not a high-level task. It is not like this is not something that a rocket scientist or a COO needs to do. So if you call up your COO and you say, hey, I need you to research out 30 or 40 insurance companies and we need to find quotes for all of what's there. Your COO is saying in their head, I get that we need to do this. I really don't want to do this, because they know it's manual and rigorous and all of the things that come. This is kind of below my pay grade. It's not strategy, like all of the things that a fractional COO or a COO
has a good assistant and just gives it to them. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I found that in many situations, the COO doesn't have a good assistant and doesn't give it to them, and they push back on the founder and say, "Yeah, I'm really more about the strategy," and the founder's like, "Yeah, me too." So get this crap done. Like that's I'm paying you to get crap done, and do that enough times and you lose your COO. What I've discovered is that what you need is a hybrid. You need an apprentice because they come in with the humility necessary and the drive to go do that humble task and do it. Like if you just gave that to a VA, 3 days later you get back on the phone with them and like, oh, so-and-so reached out to me for X, Y, and Z. And so I've been focusing on that instead of this. And you're like, what? Like, how did you not understand how important this was? Like, man, I did a poor job of communicating. An apprentice doesn't need to ask you how important is this, because they're involved enough in the business that they recognize where it is. This client's apprentice spent 12 hours on the phone calling these different places. Like he put in way more than his normal number of hours because there's a $1 million deal riding on this insurance policy. So that's what you want. That's why you want an apprentice and not just a VA, and why you want to avoid even a COO kind of individual. They generally are not humble enough to take on those admin mission critical tasks.
Yeah, makes sense. And so back to it, are they actually apprentice then? Like, how long are they going to be with you before they go do their own
Great
thing?
question.
What are you paying them? Like,
so if you're going to hire an apprentice, and I'll phrase this from the standpoint of you wanted to go do this yourself, because I'm all about like teach all of my trade secrets, and you'll be like, whoa, wow, just do this for me. If you are going to go hire an apprentice, you want to, in your listing, you need to say minimum 1 year commitment. Okay. I found that generally you don't need more than 25 hours a week on average, or 100 hours a month. 100 hours a month is generally sufficient for the right type of systems creator to make tremendous impact, to really free up time for you. The cool thing is with a VA, you put in an hour and you get back maybe an hour. Like it's just not. You spend as much time teaching them how to do something as you would doing it yourself in many situations. With an apprentice, you spend a tenth of the time teaching them. I went to a guy and said, how much better is a apprentice than a VA? And he was like, oh my gosh, I spend a tenth of the time teaching my apprentice or asking them what I want them to do, and I get a better work product at the end. So 20 times, 30 times, like I couldn't give you a number for how much better it is in the beginning when I'm not my systems aren't written.
Well,
how much better
great.
it is to have an apprentice.
How are you advertising for them, and how much are you paying them?
Great question. So, generally speaking, the apprentices that I have who apply for my program are between 18 and 30. I do have a couple that are over 30, a couple that come in even younger. So they are generally either in college or recently graduated, or they're not in college at all and they're just trying to become an entrepreneur. I give them the rule, hey, you can't have another startup. Like you can't have, I need your entire entrepreneurial brain for a year. And in exchange for that, I'm going to open the entrepreneurial door. What I discovered is they're willing to work for a fraction of what you would normally need to pay someone, because you're opening the entrepreneurial door. And so the young talent is great, except for that everybody's had a bad experience with young talent. They've said, oh, I've had an intern and I spent as much time working with them. Well, the difference between this and an intern is We put them through a series of tests where we test for detail-orientedness, we test for risk aptitude, we test for humility, and only 2% make it all the way through. So you've got to develop a series of tests that you give. So like if you're doing an onboarding process, put some tests in place so that you are weeding out the people who don't have the attributes you want.
Cool.
So
and how much are you paying them?
Great question. The pay for an apprentice ranges anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 a month. Okay. The cost for the Entrepreneur's Apprentice program is quite a bit more. And the reason we've discovered that is because we actually have discovered that an apprentice all by themselves, you need some coaching on how to make sure the relationship's going to function. And so we actually have a success manager that's built into it that gets paid. And they do a weekly call with you to like check on the relationship and connect all of those different dots. And so we have 3 different packages, $3,000, $5,000, and $10,000 a month. The $10,000 a month package includes 2 apprentices and a VA. So we actually bring you a systems follower and 2 systems creators at the same time. And the $5,000 a month includes the VA and an apprentice, and the $3,000 a month just includes the apprentice.
Cool. Sounds great. And what do your ads say when you're advertising for this, for these roles, for the apprentices?
When you post, it needs to get exciting about the opportunity to open the entrepreneurial door. So we've tried 7, 8, 12 different job postings for an apprentice. The most effective one was actually similar to the, like, I don't know if you've driven along the side of the road and like investor seeks apprentice, $7,000 a month. If you've seen those. So here in the States, they have, you drive around and in random spots where it's not technically illegal to put one of those yard signs, they have yard signs like that say investor seeks apprentice. And it looks really scammy. The interesting thing is that if you do that genuinely, so like you put out in your posting and you say, Will Christensen, successful entrepreneur, seeks apprentice to start more businesses. He has more ideas and more things than he can possibly handle on his own. He will teach you from the ground up how to begin building a business and connecting all of those different dots, and you'll help him in his current business. Come and join. Come check this out. That is working beautifully. So that's the sort of job posting I would put out there. And then I would push them through a form of some kind where you ask them like 10 or 15 questions, weed out people based on those questions, and then the blind tests begin, where like an example of a blind test would be like, here's a 5-pound weight. Give me 15 reps. And I'm going to watch you do those 15 reps. So in your mind, you're thinking 5-pound weight, 15 reps. What does he want? What is he going to be evaluating me on? And the trick to a blind test is making it so that the thing they think you want is not the thing you're testing for. So you would say, okay, I want you to, lift this 5-pound weight, do it 15 times. This example, I would probably assume, okay, well, he wants to see if I can actually lift it 15 times. Well, that's maybe not it, because 5 pounds is not very much. Okay, let's adjust the test, and let's say it's 100-pound barbell, right? And a lot of people are going to have a hard time connecting, like even picking that up, right? Well, that sounds like it might be a test of strength. Well, then I tell them, okay, and I want you to start over here. So each rep, you have to run up to it and pick it up and go back and forth. What I'm looking for is who does it faster, not who's stronger. Like, I don't care who picks up the 100-pound weight. I care who is faster in their repetitions. So a blind test is a test where the individual in the interview process doesn't know what you're evaluating them on.
Oh, I love it. And you took away my joke about just watching, liking to watch young guys do 15 reps, and that's what you're evaluating on because you moved from 5 pounds to 100 pounds. So anyway, my joke is now gone. Well, thank you. I love it. And thanks for sharing about that. I really like the Entrepreneur's Apprentice. We have one more thing. I think we have time for one more thing to dive into from our list of potential topics, which I really want to learn about, which is your outreach system. So I know you have a unique, special lead gen system for a steady flow of leads and all partners. So leads if you're a service-based business, partners if you're a e-com or you need someone to help promote your stuff, without cold spam. Because I thought cold spam was all the rage.
Yeah, everybody.
So much cold spam every day.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's amazing. It's all the rage because everybody's doing it, and it's so effective because you reply to so much of that cold spam and say, "Yes, I want what you have." Right? That's
every day.
Yeah.
I've got all this stuff in the back.
Actually, could I get your email address? I'm going to sell it to a few of my lead gen people because apparently, if you're replying every day, you're going to be like a super high converting,
Yeah.
I'm amazed at how much inflow I get. And so what I discovered is when you're out there doing lead gen, you need to start with serve first as your way of being. And what I mean by that is the very first interaction you have with someone needs to be service-based. What can I do for you instead of what can you do for me? So that's the opening way of connecting with someone. So if you connect with someone on LinkedIn, initially it's something like, hey, looking to expand my network. Well, who's that serving, me or them? You could say maybe both of you because it's expanding both of your networks, but you didn't mention them.
Yeah.
So even that message is very self-centered. So if you go the other direction and you lean into serve first, you open up by saying, hey, constantly looking to connect with thought leaders like you, or loved your post on X, Y, and Z, interested in seeing more, right? Like you're creating, you're creating that, like, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. Then one of the first things you do in your outreach is give them an opportunity to get something from you with no strings attached. So I've seen people go anywhere from like, hey, let me know if you have any posts that you want comments on. I am happy to jump in. That's a great way of like showing up, serve first. Another way that I've found is to start some sort of low friction thing that allows people to interact with you that provides value. Podcasting is now really easy. You need a Zoom account and that's it. Like, we're using Riverside. It's going to do a better job, right? There's going to be a lot cleaner things there. But I've been podcasting for 4 or 5 years now, and I've been using Zoom for my podcasts, and it works fine. It's not amazing, but it works fine. So all you need is a Zoom account, paid Zoom account, so that you can hit record, and you can record a podcast. And the dang thing does not have to be edited that well to be thrown up on YouTube. So that content all by itself, like this interchange we've had right now, there's inherent value for me, John, in just the fact that I was on this show. Because you, John from Cellar Candy, was asking me a lot of questions, and I look way smarter than I would if you just saw me on a street corner yelling about apprentices. Because you have authority, you have trust. And by inviting me onto the podcast, you've transferred some of that trust to me. So if I invite someone to come and be on my like speck of a podcast, they're still getting value out of that. And so as I build that relationship with them, then I ask, who do you need to meet? Oh, I need to meet so-and-so and such and such. Oh, cool. Hold on one second. I actually do think I know somebody. On the note of meeting people, I solve this problem. Do you know anybody who's feeling that problem? And if you're an e-commerce seller, the way I would use this is influencer or partner targeting. So if you have partners that are going to become distributing partners or multi-pack partners or anything like that, going with a podcast serve first approach in your cold outreach is going to work 10 times better than any sort of just spam. And so that's the lead gen system. So you could start a roundtable. That could be the value you're bringing to the table. Hey, join my roundtable. I've put together these 15 people who are in this industry. They're all sellers above this size. Would love to have you join. Or they're all partners above this size. Would love to have you join. They don't even have to join, but you offered them something before asking for something.
No, that's great. That's actually the same thing we do at Seller Candy, so it works really, really well. And even a nuance that we've added to that, which works very well if your partner's in the same industry, wouldn't work if not in the same industry, because I get all those messages all the time, I'd like to follow you, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, whatever. That's if you read anything of mine. Is to dangle the carrot. Because, if we can legitimately deliver the carrot, obviously not if we can't, which is, hey, looks like we serve the same type of clients. It'd be great to connect and see if we can bring each other business. Because what's the one thing that every business wants? It's
so the only thing I've found with that carrot is there are so many people who can't deliver on it, offering that carrot, that I like offering I usually offer that carrot when I'm on the podcast kind of thing. I've already started to build some trust. So then when I offer that carrot, it actually means something. My experience is just asking hey, why don't I bring leads to you, you bring leads to me. If they have a partnerships person, that person's all over that conversation. But I found that the founders are often too busy to take those conversations as they grow. And so the founder's never too busy to get some exposure on a podcast.
Yeah, it really depends on how big your carrot is, I guess.
That's
you have
true.
a reputation
if you've got an audience, right? So Seller Candy's well known, and you've got thousands of clients, and so you have a bigger reputation stick to carry around. So your carrot means a little bit more. But for the guys who are just starting out, who don't have any sort of presence, some sort of serve first I found works a little better than that carrot right out the gate.
Yeah. So start a podcast and then change yourself into a baby, because that seems to be all the rage these days. I feel like I haven't done that yet, but if you're watching this, editor, if you can do that with me and Will, it'll be hilarious. Please do it for us.
Yeah. No, please. Yeah, please. And then put it in the comments if you would. It would be a very entertaining podcast, I think, at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do the whole thing, but this little extract, I think it'd be great.
Yes. Yep.
Maybe with a giant carrot, even if you want to do that. Carrot. Animate it. It's going to be amazing. Controversial take. So, Will, I hear you have a controversial take. What's your controversial take you want to share?
The thing that I want to tell you is that if you are currently touching all the different parts of your business, if you're the linchpin, let me put it this way. If you get hit by a bus, your business falls apart, that means you don't own a business. You own a job. So my controversial take is, especially entrepreneurs in the e-commerce space, they stay in the weeds too long. They try to do it all themselves because they're trying to pinch those pennies and squeeze that margin and dig in. Go read Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell and buy back your freaking time. Because if you're not currently implementing VAs or apprentices or delegation or automation and AI in your business, you're already falling behind. Somebody who is going to eat your lunch.
Love it. Thanks, Will. And I know you got to run. So what's the best way that people can stay in touch?
Best way to get in touch with me is if you're looking for automation help, dataautomation.com. That's the company that I own that does that. Seller Labs is all about seller data and helping people organize that. And then obviously Entrepreneur's Apprentice. So entrepreneursapprentice.com, sellerlabs.com, dataautomation.com, or find me on LinkedIn.
Love it. Thanks so much, Will. Always great to have you, and have a great day. Talk to you soon.